So a couple of months ago, I started suddenly getting a lot of listings for my otherwise failed marketplace called My Spare Desk. And to begin with, I was a bit confused, of course, because it's not normal to get buyers for a new listing that fast. And suddenly my Stripe app was also blowing up with the same transaction amount all the time, 1060, 1060, 1060. And yes, I love the Stripe app. It's actually my favorite app on my phone. But of course, when you start getting the same transaction coming in all the time, that's a bit suspicious. It did, however, feel like free money just to begin with, but then I noticed that it was just the same 3 to 4 buyers buying again and again. And that's when I knew there was something completely wrong here. And even though I did catch this fraud scheme relatively early, it still ended up costing me more than $800 in chargebacks and Stripe fees. My name is Rasmus and I love building online marketplaces, and I recently built 4 online marketplaces myself. One is a marketplace for buying and selling movement mugs, which are very popular in the Nordic region. Another one is a marketplace for making, buying and selling stars online. A third one, which was the one I talked about in the very beginning, is a marketplace for turning your home into a co-working space. And a fourth one was a marketplace for buying and selling podcast ads online. And I also have a boilerplate which helps technical people build their online marketplaces faster. And I have a course where I am teaching non-technical people how to build their online marketplaces faster using AI. And for all the marketplaces that I've ever built, I've been using stripeconnect because it's basically the only option that is out there. You can use Mango Pay, but that one is very expensive, so it's not really an option for small to medium-sized marketplaces. And then there's also Adyen, but Adyen only accepts enterprise-level marketplaces. So that's not really an option if you are a small or medium-sized marketplace owner. And don't get me wrong here, I do actually like Stripe and stripeconnect. You just have to realize that using stripeconnect comes with a lot of hidden risks. And that's actually why I built a new tool that is called GuardYourConnect, which helps marketplace owners like you to avoid what happened to me. So when you start using stripeconnect, you have to agree to their terms. And their terms says that you'll be responsible for refunds, chargebacks and fines. You also have to make sure that all your sellers are not operating in a restricted business category. And you have to provide support to sellers and educate them on their risk. And if you then go to the Stripe documentation, you can see that a chargeback will cost you $15. And if you then dispute a chargeback and you lose it, then it will cost you an additional $15 on top of that. But if you win it though, you will get that additional $15 back. And remember that you will also have to refund the full amounts. And if you get a high number of disputes, you might get penalties or even face account restrictions. And now you might be thinking, why not just use Stripe Radar? Well, Stripe Radar protects individual Stripe accounts, but if you are a platform using stripeconnect, you can't entirely manage Radar rules for your connected sellers. And the way that GuardYourConnect works is that it fills this gap by monitoring all your connected accounts for suspicious behavior, and then you will be alerted before chargebacks happen. And now you might be wondering, why isn't Stripe building something like this as well? And actually I can tell you that they are, and they have been building that for a long time. It's called Radar for Platforms, and it does look like a promising tool if they ever release it, and it's currently in private preview. And you can see from the documentation that it's mostly designed for large teams with risk analysts and internal ops workflow and all this stuff, right? So GuardYourConnect is a tool for smaller and medium-sized growing marketplace owners that basically helps them not getting all these disputes on Stripe. So as you can see here right now, I'm logged into my Spare Desk account, but I could basically log into any account I would want to, right? So, and here you can see that first of all, I get a good overview of the risk profile for the whole account, and I can easily filter on whatever I want to filter on. And I can also, by the way, search up here if I want to find an account like this. I can easily search for an account like this. Then you can see here that all sellers has a risk profile, right? And you can see that this seller here has a high risk profile. Okay, so that is very interesting, right? So I can also quickly see all his transactions here, and I can then add a note if I wanted to, like this, right? That will probably be something like high risk, be careful, or something like that, right? Then I can easily disable him here if I also wanted to do that. But if I click here on the high risk, it then takes me to the fraud detection overview. So first of all, there were 7 transactions within 30 minutes and 8 transactions were of the same amount. That is really weird, right? So already now you can see that this seems a little bit shady, so you should probably go ahead and disable him from your marketplace. And what you can also do is that you can set up email alerts, so every time there's a new high-risk seller, you will basically be alerted by email. Now, another area that is super awesome about the tool, if I may say so myself, is the status area here on the table. And now you can see that I'm logged into my other marketplace, which is the Nordic Mox 1. And you can see that these are sellers, and some of them are fully onboarded like this, and some of them are missing information like this. So if a seller is fully onboarded, that means that they can both accept money and they can also pay out money from their Stripe Express accounts to their actual bank accounts. And if you look at a seller up here, for instance this one, you can see that they haven't started the onboarding at all on Stripe. So that means that they cannot accept payments and they cannot pay out money from their Stripe Express accounts that they haven't made yet to their actual bank accounts. So what do I mean by this? Let me show you an example. So here on Nordic Mox, this is one of my marketplaces. You can see that this seller is trying to sell this mug here, but I cannot click on the buy now button. The only way I can actually buy from this seller is to write the seller and then figure out some other way of paying the seller the price, which is the 170 euros for this one, right? So that is what I mean. So if the seller has not onboarded on Stripe, they cannot accept payments basically. So that is what you always want your sellers to do basically, because it is a much better experience, of course, that a buyer can go here directly and buy from the seller instead of just writing them first and then figuring out. That is a bit of a hassle, of course. So if we go back here to the table, you can see that there are some of these sellers here that has a minimal account like this one, right? And having a minimal account, that is basically what you want all your sellers to have, because that means that they can accept money. And we don't care if they can't pay out money to their bank accounts. That is something they have to figure out themselves afterwards. We just want them to be able to accept money. And now the cool thing is with the tool, you can then click on a seller that is not fully onboarded or doesn't have a minimal Stripe account, and you can click here and then you can basically copy the minimal onboarding link. So you copy it like this and it's copied to clipboard, and then you basically send that to the seller. You have their email, right? So you send it to them and just tell them, hey, please make your minimal account here so that you can start accepting payments. So that is another really cool feature, again, if I may say it myself, that this tool has. And also there are many upcoming features that will be available in the near future. So if you experience something similar to what I experienced, then I really encourage you to go and check it out on GuardYourConnect.com. And if you haven't experienced something similar, then I can just say that you are a very lucky marketplace owner, and I would still encourage you to go and check it out because it might save you a lot of money. That is it for this one, guys. Thank you so much. See you. Bye bye.